discussions you're going to see coming out of Nigeria, for sure. Then, a country that I flew over a week ago, Venezuela. I mean,
Okay, good day, billionaires. I want to believe we are all amazing. It's an amazing, amazing day from here in Lagos. Yeah, it's an amazing day here in Lagos, Nigeria. I don't know where you are from, but I am super excited about what is happening today, and I am really, 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 really excited. I want to believe that we all had a very beautiful day. Like I do, what happened for you between when we had the last session? What have you done differently, right? What has happened to your mindset about yourself, about your business, about the things you do, and what are you going to do really, really, really differently? So, who's going to build a card for us today? I have 𝖉𝖛𝖊. This is your first time attending our live session this year, so it's good to have you, right? And Steve was the first person in the room today, right? So, who wants to go first, right? Remember, it's always interactive here. It's not like somebody just coming and speaking over your head. We are learning together. It's a journey. It's a journey of growth, right? So, who is in a good place to share something with us today? Anyone?
Good evening, sir.
All right. Good evening, Babs.
How's this fine? Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing up for us. It's really amazing. I think it's an encouragement for us to always also show up for the things we have planned to do.
Yeah.
It's a big encouragement. Yes. So for me, between last week and now, it's actually still been trying to set things in motion that has been laid up to plan. Meeting with few individuals, discussing and putting concrete steps into what we said we are going to do.
Yeah.
I think I had a meeting last weekend, discussing with a friend on how we could take my tech company and come up with a few products that both of us can actually be doing together in form of partnership. So that's those steps. Developing products that we can actually be offering, then looking at how to market and put the word out there to get customers into network. So the guy actually is into networking, infrastructure configuration. So and I a bit of software and also setting up of servers. So we actually have a common product that we actually so we just come up with something that we can always run together and develop. So with that discussion, like we've been thinking of this for some months. It's just now we started trying to put something concrete, draw up agreements, platforms to publicize, and okay, how do we get people to know about what we can do and understand? So it's been so for me it's been meeting up and trying to put into concrete steps the things that we said we were going to do. So yes, that's my journey.
Amazing. Yeah. So the thing with planning is that the more concrete you're planning, the easier the journey becomes, right? So some people get on it and then they're trying to figure out along It's one way to act. Yes, another way to act is to be sure of exactly where you're going, right? That may appear slow sometimes, but in the end, it's usually faster because if you do your planning right, then you probably would have solved some problems ahead, which would, really put you ahead sometimes, even for those who seem to have gone ahead of you. So that's beautiful. That's beautiful, right? And I know that you are transitioning from career to entrepreneurship. So taking your time to establish what exactly you want to do is also very critical. So you don't jump ship and then you find yourself like, oh, who sent me? Right. So do we have any other person? 𝖷𝖚𝖙, say something, or Steve?
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good to hear your
Yeah,
voice.
thank you. Okay, so I've been so blessed. I've not really stayed for so long in the factory, so to say. But sincerely, I've been learning gradually. And one thing I've really been showcasing is my brand. Before I don't actually showcase my brand, let um, people know me. So for the past 2, 3 weeks now, I've been deliberate about that. And it was so shocking when I was to recruit a few staffs because I was short of staff. So I got a particular lady and she later turned it down. So I was thinking about it. I felt, okay, let me leverage on my social media. Let me leverage on online, Facebook. Let me see. So I just posted we are hiring and something like that. And in the space of 2, 3 hours, I was receiving calls, some persons that have been following secretly and all of that. Like, oh, we've known about the passion school, blah, blah, blah. We want to learn under you. We want to go. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even know I've been making little impact. So for me, yes. Even today, I was able to interview like few and I was able to employ two. Okay, so each time I think about, okay, growth factory, I'm thinking about how to grow my business, how to brand it, how to increase in different levels. And with this set of staffs I've just gotten, I think I can relax and push up to the next level, not you know. Okay, so I've really been growing. I'm a new baby in the factory, but at least I'm growing gradually. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, yeah, that's super amazing. That's super amazing. And I'm really glad, like you said, that things are moving for you. And so I want to assure you that the series we are taking that we started last week, which is order, is very, very critical for you as a business person. Trust me, right? Trust me. Very, very critical. So last
I'll
week
go.
we started a series on order, creating order, because I was just wondering if somebody is going to really break through in business or whatever it is they do, what is one thing they must get right? And I figured out that the person must be able to put order in place. I realized that even God works with order, right? There are many things in our lives that we don't pray about. But once you put order in place, God puts his blessing on it, right? So it's just so amazing, so amazing. Once you order your family, God puts his blessing on it. Once you order your business, God puts his blessing on it, right? For people who belong to the Christendom, for example, we have an order of service. There was no place written in the Bible that there should be an order of service. But you say opening prayer 5 minutes, praise worship 20 minutes, message 30 minutes, and God puts his blessing on that order. And people say, oh, thank God for today's service. I had a word in season. God spoke to me. It's because there was order, right? So wherever there is order, God puts his blessing on it, meaning that order is something from God, right? So before we delve into today, let's remind ourselves again, what's our vision here at the Growth Factory? Our vision is to build 1,000 billionaires by 2035. And this is very critical for us. So what we are building is 1,000 billionaires in the next 10 years, right? So this is technically our first year of that expression. So I'm trusting that by the end of this year, by December 2025, we should have businesses that are worth several tens of millions if you are not doing that already. So by next year, into the next 2-3 years, we should be scaling into several hundreds of millions, right? So then we know that. So let's just keep following the conversations, right? And over time, all these other things, equip MSMEs as our mission with transformative knowledge, which is what we're starting with. Then other things that will come up in the course of all our conversations, strategic tools, growth capital, and a supportive community that enables them to build sustainable, globally competitive businesses. So we have to start with the one that we know we can do very well. That is my own strength, actually, knowledge, right? I know that I have a gift of learning and imparting knowledge, right? So we're going to start with that. Then over time, we're going to move into strategic tools. Trust me, those things are unfolding gradually. They are coming and they are coming very big. And we're going to move into the realm of also allowing and helping businesses to access capital, because very, very key for you to scale, you need some level of money. Trust me, you need some level of money. How do we access capital? We're still going to be having a lot of conversations around that. Some will invite people to talk to us. Some we're going to have some workshops to help us, break these things down, right? So because we're building sustainable, globally competitive businesses, right? So yeah, last week we started a series on order, and what are the 5 things about order? It's objective, readiness, direction, execution, and review. And today we are looking at readiness, right? So one of the things I've learned, in the course of my study is that is the fact that nobody really has a growth problem. What people have is a readiness problem. You don't have a growth problem. I'm telling you, the problem you have is how ready are you for the level that you are aiming for, that you are aspiring to, that you can't wait to be. How ready are you for that? If you are not ready and that thing comes, it's going to break you. Every blessing comes with a weight. So if you are not ready for the blessing when it comes, that blessing will break you. It will become a burden to you. So somebody is praying, God, give me money, give me money. Then you have the money, and then you stop worshiping God. Then you stop relating with people. You become proud. What has happened to you? The money, which is the blessing you're praying for, has broken the man, the human that you are, because you have not built capacity to receive it. You are not ready for it. So sometimes when we experience delay in our business, it's not because God does not want us to grow that business, it's because we are not ready for it. Because if the business should explode the way you are as a person, it's going to break you. So you have to grow through the process of getting ready. So how do you become ready? That is what this conversation today is basically all about. So what we said yet last week, very important. If everything matters to you, execution collapses. If you want to try to do everything, then I'm afraid that you are doing the wrong thing. So before we go on, please remember, all our broadcasts are uploaded to the YouTube channel Boardroom NG. These are boardroom conversations we are having here. And if you have not subscribed, you are not helping us, right? So as at the last time I checked, we had 79 subscribers. My desire is that before the end of January, we should at least cross the first 100. So then we can start looking for the next 100, right? So please share with all your contacts, share with all your family and friends. Let's encourage them to subscribe. Just encourage somebody to subscribe, right? It doesn't bite. It just helps us to grow the community. That's very important, right? Good. So let's go to readiness. Are you ready? So this is the flow of our conversation today, right? So last week, I gave us an assignment. Now, how many of us did that assignment? I know Jumi wasn't around last week. I don't know if she caught up with the replay. I gave us an assignment last week that one of the things that can help you, and I want us to look at this together. If you're really going to scale, if you're really going to become that person, I know you have a lot of ideas on the things you want to do this year, but to make growth happen, there is that one objective that if you can achieve it, if you can achieve that objective, then every other objective becomes easy. And then some, you just realize that I don't even need it after all, right? I don't need it after all. Why? Because that one objective is very critical. Let me give an example. 𝖷𝖫𝖚 runs a school. So let's assume that part of your objectives this year is that you want to have a school bus. Then you're also dreaming that you want to have a personal car. And you're also dreaming that you want to maybe buy a car for your parents, something like that, right? So out of all these objectives, which one of them do you think that if you achieve it, will make the others easier to achieve? If you ask me, it's the bus. If you have a bus, not only will the bus carry your pupils, the bus can also be used for commercial purpose if you get a good manager to help you. So while school is in session, the bus works in the morning, goes out to do commercials, makes some money for you. Then in the afternoon, goes to pick the children. Then in the evening, the bus. So you realize that out of all of those things, the critical one that you must have, that's just an example. I know you're dropping comments in the chat room, right? So you said very correct. Right? So what is that one objective that if you achieve it, it makes the other objectives easier to achieve? You must find it. Otherwise, you're going to be running in many directions and you cannot fully say, oh, I found exactly what I want to achieve. I found it. You won't be able to say you found it. So I wanted to go back to last week. I'm not going to go over it again because it is critical to our conversation today. That's why I'm mentioning it. So this is from last week. Go to the video, right? If you're catching up with the replays, the link is going to be somewhere around this video or in the description. Just click the link and just go and watch it. Very, very instructive, right? So let's go ahead. Why most businesses are not ready to grow. Now, you are not ready to grow. Why? Because you don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. Let me give you an example. Somebody says, oh, this year I'm going to work out in the gym 3 times in a week. I'm going to lose 20 kg, right? So this person has set these very beautiful goals. But then you realize that this person does not have a gym body. This person, the kind of work he does is such that once he starts working, he doesn't have time for any other thing until maybe late in the evening, right? This is the kind of work he does. But because of that work, he has, amassed a lot of mass that is becoming so big, and he's thinking that if only I can, and said, look, I must work out. But then the system that you are running cannot give you that time to go to the gym 3 times in a week, right? So what do you then do as a person? You cannot go to the gym because the kind of work you do ensures that you are at your desk almost 24/7, round the clock. So what do? What you can do is to probably buy some gym equipment in your house. And number 2, you can have a friend in the neighborhood that will be coming to your house at a particular time, maybe when you close for work or during break or even in the night, and say, guy, every 7 p.m., come to my house, let us work out together. So when you build a system around it, then the goal becomes easier to achieve. But if you don't have a system, you are not going to rise to meet that goal. No, you are going to fall to the existing system. So growth doesn't start with an ambition. Growth starts with honesty. You need to be brutally honest with yourself that, okay, I said I am going to 100x. Brutally honest with yourself. Do you have a system that can 100x? You add maybe 10 million revenue last year, right? And then you're saying you want to 110 million this year. 10 times 100, that's 1,000, right? That's basically a billion. So you want to 100x, right? You want to multiply it 100 times. So how do you become a billion naira? Yes, I'm using naira now because I know my primary audience is Nigeria, right? So how do you build a million naira business, right? If you don't have a system that can help you achieve it. So it's not about you are trusting God, you have faith. It's not about faith. It's about so you should have the faith to create a system that can engender the result that you desire. If your system cannot guarantee the result, it is just a wish. And remember, we said last week that an objective is not a wish. An objective is not a prayer point. We are not saying don't wish it. We are not saying don't pray about it. We are saying that if it is not concrete, if it is not measurable, if it is not specific, if you cannot measure it over time, then what you have is just a wish. It is not an objective. You can pray about it. So you realize that people pray about so many things and then they carry it into the next year. Then they keep praying again and carry it over into the next year. Why do they keep carrying it over every calendar year? Because they thought that by praying, it will just happen. It doesn't happen like that. Prayer should lead you to be able to create a system to deliver what you are praying for. I hope somebody is what I'm saying is making sense, right? Is it making sense? So what we then see is that a lot of people try to scale, but in trying to scale, you also scale your chaos. In trying to scale, you also scale your chaos, right? Why? Because most SMEs don't fail. They only experience scale disorder. So when we say, oh, somebody is failing, it's not like you're failing really. It's just that you are scaling chaos, right? So if you have more sales on a broken system, what it means is that you will collapse faster. Let's take an example, a fashion designer. You are the one who runs your own business. It's only you, maybe, and one other designer, right? So you guys, maybe if you are very fast, you're specialized in kaftans, for example, and it takes you maybe one day. Let's just work with that. You can finish a kaftan in one day, and your assistant too can finish a kaftan in one day, meaning that the two of you working together can do 2 kaftans per day. So if you are booked every day of the week, you are going to do 14 kaftans per day. That's already dangerous for you because you need a day to rest. So let's assume you're working 7 days. So you are doing 14 kaftans per week, right? If you scale that to a month, 30 days a month, that means you are doing 60 kaftans in a month. That's beautiful. But then you are saying, oh, I want to 100x what I am doing now. So the question is, if you now start having 4 customers per day, how are you going to deliver? If what you are doing is 2 kaftans per day, you and your assistant, you are doing 2 kaftans a day. and you are praying that God should increase what you are doing, you want to double to being able to make 4 kaftans per day. Now tell me, how do you want to deliver 4 kaftans per day? Those are the questions that we need to be able to answer. So when you are praying for something, you need to also tell yourself, how can I scale my system to be able to deliver 4 kaftans? If it means that you're going to buy some special machines that will make the work faster, maybe you have a machine that can automatically just punch the measurements, put the clothes, and the machine will cut it by itself. And so that one makes it faster, right? So you must have something you can leverage on that can deliver the result you are praying for. So people don't fail. They only experience failure because they are trying to scale this order, right? So more sales on a broken system create faster collapse, right? Why? Because growth amplifies whatever is underneath. So when you are small, people cannot see your inefficiency because you are small. But as you grow bigger, then it becomes obvious that you don't have the capacity to do what you are saying. So, for example, if your cash flow is messy, growth will make it uglier. If your cash flow is messy, so you are not having enough cash flow, and then you need to execute projects, you will be messed up big time. You will be messed up. If your team is confused, some of us, you can't even articulate your vision for people to understand where you are going. You realize that every time we meet, I always say this: we're raising 1,000 billionaires by 2035. That is clear for us in the growth factory. So anybody coming and catching up with all our broadcasts, it is what we are trying to do. We are trying to infuse in everyone that mindset of a billionaire. That if you put the right structures in place, trust me, you're going to have the right results, right? So, but if your team is confused about where you are going, growth will only multiply chaos. Try it. Try it. I'm giving this as an assignment to some. Just try it, right? So when you get to your office, tomorrow, right, or after you've listened to this, call your staff together and ask them separately, or tell them to write on paper the vision of your organization, the vision of your business. The responses you get will give you an idea of what people are thinking when they come to work. Trust me, you can try it. It's a very beautiful exercise that every business person should try. So if your operations are weak, growth will only expose it. If your operations are weak, growth will only expose it. So what it means is that you don't actually have to grow dysfunction, you only expose it. So when there is dysfunctionality anywhere in your life, growth will amplify it. For example, people who are married will know that if you are battling a particular weakness in your life, don't think that, oh, because I'm married now, yes, my partner will compensate me. It's a lie. That weakness, if you don't take it on as a challenge and take responsibility for it, it will only become amplified in marriage. Trust me. And it happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. Growth only exposes dysfunction. So if you are dysfunctional, growth will amplify it. If you are running a tight system, then growth will amplify your tight system. So the question I'm asking you and me today is, what kind of system are you running, and how ready are you for what is coming? Now, why do some of us find it, relatively difficult to break free from some things? Why do we find it difficult to really move into things that matter? It's because of this thing I'm sharing, the sunk cost trap. The sunk cost trap. And what does the sunk cost trap mean? It means that when some of us have gotten used to something, you've gotten used to an idea, you've gotten used to a system, right? Even when that system is no longer working, we keep them because we are emotionally invested. Because we are emotionally invested. I will never forget an incident I was privy to many years ago. Those days when the MP3 players were coming in, and and the CD players. No, it wasn't the CD players. It was the MP3 players were becoming the funk. That was a time when we had smartphones that could play music. Yes, because there was a time it was CD players, and then we moved to MP3 players. So the time when we started having smartphones, and a lot of phones could take pictures, could do music and all of that. There was this guy who, because he had made some good sales from selling MP3 players. The guy is in Computer Village. Then he's had a shipment, of what's it called, of MP3 players coming in at the same time when people were flooding the market with phones, because he felt like, wow, that this is an opportunity. Wow, that we're going to be selling MP3 players and all of that. The guy ran into debt. Why? Because once the smartphones came, people stopped buying those gadgets. Why? Because everything you need, you could find it on your phone. So many of us have become emotionally invested into something because you put money, you put time, some of us have even built our reputation on some things. But those things are no longer working, but we want to keep them. So we are sunk. We are sunk into that thing because it has become a trap for us. So that's why it's called the sunk cost trap. You are keeping a bad system that used to work, but no longer work. Right? So you don't keep them. So you don't build success on emotions, right? You don't build a successful operations on emotions. You build it on systems. So if your operations are no longer serving you, then you need to break it down and so let's unpack this. For some of us, maybe you spent a lot of money hiring a staff, and it's more difficult when that staff happens to be maybe a family member. That is the toughest of all. Very tough. Very, very tough, right? So because of the emotional investment, you don't want to let the person go, even though the person is no longer serving the course of your business. Some people have refused to grow. As the business is growing, they have refused to grow. But some of us say, oh, they have been with me from the beginning. The fact that somebody has been with you from the beginning when your business was small, but now your business has outgrown the person, but you are so emotionally attached to them, even when they have refused to grow. I say, because when things were not that smooth, they stayed, right? They stayed, but they were not growing. They were not growing. They no longer fit into the new phase of the business. What you can do for people like that is you can gather some money to bless them, appreciate them, and let them go, because they no longer serve the future. They are serving the past. So when there are some of us, as your business expands, some staff roles will no longer be needed, right? That's another example. So you can't say, oh, because you have always had an head of whatever department, but that department is no longer needed in your business operations. What do? You let them go. You let them go. So somebody, are you ready? Are you ready? I want to see it in the chat room. So just to be sure I'm not alone, put I am ready in the chat room. So let me be sure I'm not alone. So there are some of us, it's tools that people no longer use. You have some really old technology that you've kept. Some of us have been using maybe your laptop, your computers for the past 10, 15 years. But you don't want to let it go. Why? Because you feel, oh, we are so used to this. So the fact that you are used to it does not mean life has moved on. Come on. Life has moved on. Or maybe some processes that have become dysfunctional, no longer delivering results. Come on. You got to move on. You got to move on, right? So all of these things are things that should help us to understand where we are and, of course, where we are going. Very critical, very important. So what readiness really means? Readiness is operational truth. Like I said, you need to break down your operations and tell yourself, whatever is not working must die, right? Let me borrow from what Jesus said in John 15. He said, I am the vine, you are the branches. He said, any vine, any branch that does not bear fruit, he said, my Father prunes. Do you know the meaning of prune? Prune means to cut. My Father prunes that it may bear more fruit. So sometimes cutting is also making room for growth. Sometimes we think it's adding. If you look at some of us, look at all you have said, all you have done this year is to add more activities. It is not about adding more activities. It is about shedding away irrelevant, inefficient, ineffective, unproductive activities. And even if it means unproductive relationships. Some of us might need to do a relationships audit. Now, if you're married, I'm not saying you should divorce, right? I'm just saying that you need to do an audit. Is this relationship still serving the purpose for which we started it? If it is sucking your energy, not giving you the kind of results that you want to have, then sometimes you may just have to let go. Just put people in their place and you don't just invest. So readiness is knowing what works and what doesn't. Readiness is knowing what works and what doesn't. Readiness is seeing without defending. Don't try to defend it. Because the problem is that because you are emotionally vested, you are trying to hold on to something. You know that this thing has outlived its value, has outlived its time. But you are trying to defend, you are trying to rationalize it. Once you see yourself trying to rationalize something, it already tells you that that thing is past. Let it go. That's what it means. If you are trying to rationalize why somebody should be in your employment, that means the person is no longer needed. Because if the person is needed, there will be no reason to consider whether you should release them or not. Once you start considering whether you should let somebody go, it may be a sign that it's time for them to go. Trust me. Trust me. It may just be a sign that it's time for them to go. Right? So what are the 5 areas of readiness? So I'm trying to break this just to compress it, right? 5 key areas that you need to check. We're still going to do a test at the end of this conversation. You know the way I run, right? That is the way I think naturally. I think in terms of, okay, what is the problem? Let's create a solution for it. So you're going to see yourself how ready you are at the end of it. So don't go away. Don't sleep on me. This is still going to be very interesting. And I'm going to try to rush up things as fast as possible so that we can get to that, right? So areas of readiness, your revenue streams. Where is money coming from? The key thing about business is cash flow. Like they say, cash flow is king. How is money flowing into your business? So are you ready? Are you ready for it? If you are spending more, so there's something in accounting, they call it COGS, cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold means that how much you spend probably in advertising and all of that before you eventually make a sale. So if, for example, you are spending 100 million naira and your revenue is 80 million naira. Uncle, there's something wrong somewhere. Because the cost of selling, of making that money is higher than the money that eventually comes in. That is not profit. Some of us don't pay attention to the cost of goods, the calls you make, the visitations, the physical energy, the physical exertion, the mental exertion, the economic exertion, the emotional exertion. We don't factor it in. By the time you now look at the money that comes, you tell yourself, if I invest this same amount of energy, this same amount of time, this same amount of emotion into another thing, won't I have something better than what I have now? So another question, are you ready? Are you ready? Right? So you are making money, but at what cost? At what cost are you making the money? If the cost is more than the revenue, I'm afraid you are not in business. You are just being busy, right? And if you want to scale that, so let's assume you are spending 100 million naira to make 80 million naira. You don't want to scale it to be making 160 million. That means that you're going to be spending 200 million. If you want to scale it to 240, that means you'll be spending 300. Can you see? So scaling inefficiency will also scale your loss. Before now, you are losing 20 million naira. When you double it, you're losing 40 million. If you triple it, you are losing 60 million. That is what we are talking about here. So if you scale inefficiency, you also scale your loss. So you want to look at your core processes. How do you get things done? What is your internal process? What are your internal processes like, right? As things move from one person to another, you know, your departments, how do you, you know, work together? Then your team rules, what, who is doing what? If you look at your customer journey from when they come to you to when they get the product, what is the process like? If you look at the processes critically, I'm telling you, you will realize that there are some processes that no longer serve, that can go. There are some you need to modify. There are some that if you look at it critically, that process can go. So if the process can go, what it then means is that the people running that process can also go. Or the process can be handled by technology. So if the process can be handled by technology, I can't remember the last time I entered a banking hall. I don't know if it's the same with you guys, but I can't remember the last time I entered a banking hall. I don't have any business entering a banking hall. For how long now? Right? So what then means is that a lot of those cashiers, if you have entered recently, you realize that there are very few tellers. Before, sometimes in some banks, you have like 10, 15 tellers. Now, if you enter some banks, maybe just like 2 or 3 tellers, and many of them are contract staff. Before now, you still have some regular staff, you know, many of them contract. Why? Because technology has made that process irrelevant, right? So then all the teams that work there, they have also become, in quote, irrelevant. So do you have the tools and the tech and the technology that can help you to scale? Very important. The decision flows. How do you make decisions? Are you the alpha and omega of your organization, such that if you are not there, things cannot move? I'm sorry, it is not being big, that things cannot move because you are not around. You are slowing down things. I'm telling you, you're slowing down things and you're slowing your growth. So in identifying efficiencies, 3 things you want to look at: what to fix, what to simplify, what to eliminate. What to fix, what to simplify, and what to eliminate. So I know that last week we did this exercise, and I want you to look at it again critically. So look at all the things you do in your business in delivering value for your customer. List all of them. Then you can put in brackets, or you can make it in form of a table. Fix, simplify, eliminate. Based on the direction you are going, look at everything you do, look at everything. Then you categorize it. Fix, simplify, eliminate. If an average person cannot do what you are trying to do, then that means you need to simplify it. If it looks like the thing is no longer efficient, then you need to fix it. But if it looks like it is no longer needed, it is time to eliminate it. Don't be emotional about it. If it is no longer needed, alele, let it go. Eliminate. Eliminate it. Right? So this is very critical. Why? Because if you don't know where you are leaking, you will never grow. Right? So imagine that you have a very big bowl, or maybe your tank, your tank, a reservoir. If your reservoir is leaking, no matter how much water you have, it will not serve you for as long as it should serve you. Why? Because there is a leak in your tank. You cannot have the growth you are looking for because there is a leak in your tank. So if there is a leak in your system, you will never be able to grow, or at least not at the rate at which you should. So what you need to do is not to pump more water into the tank. What you need to do is to fix the leak. Fix the leak. That's what you need to do. So let's take a practical. So I hope somebody has gotten something for this, right? You can use this to train your staff. Just play the video. You can tell them to play the video. And for those in the growth factory, I'm going to give us this test in PDF format, so you can print it and then have the conversation with your staff. You can have the conversation with your staff or with your top leaders, in your organization. Let's have conversations that drive growth. All right, this is a useful resource for you. Like I told you, I am after ensuring that you have what it takes for you to move your business to the next level, right? So, and if you want us to do this together, just give me a call. I'm just a chat away, right? So we can do some really core trainings to help your people to know how to think efficiency, right? So all of us on this call are going to do this. If you are watching the replay, I want you to also do this. Very important, small, simple exercise, very straightforward. So how are you going to do it? Rate each area from 1. 1 means you are broken. 10 means you are strong, right? So in between, just look at the values in between, right? 1 means you are completely broken in that area. 2 means, okay, you are not so bad. 3 means, well, 5 is average. Yeah, 6, maybe not too strong. 7, a bit strong. 8, so keep looking at it like that till you get to 10. 10 means, yes, you are really strong in this area. So let's rate 1 to 10. We're going to discuss briefly before we go, right? So I want you to work on this. Just, you can use your notepad, or you can use your phone pad, or you can use your book and paper. So your revenue, in terms of predictability and stability, what is your score? What is your score? And if you can, why do you think you have this score? Why? Just something short. You don't need to overthink it, right? At the end of the session, you can go back and look and really think deeply, right? So let's go to number 2, cash flow. Timing of money. How fast do you make money? And how fast does your money go out, right? How fast do you make money? And for how long do you retain money in your business before the money leaves? How fast do you make money? For how long are you able to retain the money before it eventually leaves, right? So cash flow, timing of money in and out. Are you broken? Are you strong? Right? So give us your score. And why do you think you have the score? Your core operations, how work gets done. Can you boast that if you're not around for a month, everything will go well, even if you're not around for a month? Let's even put it there, not to talk of 2 or 3 months. How work gets done? How efficient do you get job done, right? So let's scale it, let's score it. Are you broken? Are you strong? Are you average? Are you somewhere in between? Then your team roles. Do your team members know their roles? Are they clear about their roles? Are they clear about the organization's vision? And how well are they performing their roles? Right? So your score for that on a scale of 1 to 10. And briefly, why do you think you are putting the score? Why are you giving the score? Then look at your sales and marketing. How well are you selling? Because somebody said some time ago that if you look at books, they don't write best writing author, they write best selling author. Because most times it's not about the content, it's about how you sell the book. So how are you selling your product? How are you selling your service? The scale of 1 to 10. Are you broken? Are you strong? And why do you have this score? So let's look at your tools and technology. How well are you using your tools? How well are you using technology to give you the advantage, right? Then decision making, speed and clarity. How fast do decisions get made and executed within your organization? How fast? What is the speed and clarity? So let's have a brief chat, right? So who goes first? What's your score? What's your score? Right? Who is going to share with us tonight? What's your score? So let's look at where did you do well? Where do you think you need to pay more attention, right? So he's going to share with us. He's going to share with us, right? I believe I am not alone. I can never be alone. I will never walk alone, right? So who is going? Who is going?
Hello. Hello.
All right. Please go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. It's nothing to be ashamed about. Thank God. I don't want to use the word I'm broken, and I got tired of being broken. But I'm being broken for good. And ordinarily, I wanted speaking even now, and this thing is just hitting me like, is it a rock also? Thereby means I have a whole lot of work to do. Not that I don't know some of those things to do, but staying with them. It is one thing that knowing what to do and sticking to them, but the way you are laying this word one by one, like words on marbles, I can say, yes, I have been the handicap I must face. Because thinking that I know it or knowing what I am not putting into practice or doing is another thing. And I think if there is anything the beast, the growth factory is doing to me now, from last year through now at least, is trying to see how at the end of the tunnel, which is likely this year, I'm going to see myself stronger. But I can tell you my scaling so far has been 1, 2, 1, 2. Make me want to fall down and shed tears, but on the other side is something keeps telling me that, well, it is either now or never. That is that for me for now. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable, right? That's what the growth factory is about, because we must grow. And without stretch, there cannot be growth. So the whole idea behind all these conversations is to help us to stretch. And I really want to say this, right? Because it's something that I practice too, right? In fact, I was speaking with one of my coaches today, and he gave me an appointment for next week, right? And the person I'm talking about is not a small man, a big man. He said, Ayo, you need to see me, you need to see me. So he said this week is booked, that I should see him next week. So I want to say this, right? The reason why we're having this, and I always tell you guys, I'm your billionaire coach, right? So if it means taking some resource to get somebody to guide you through those things, right? Please do it. So we can talk after this class, right? So let's work out something for you that can help you. So because now I don't know if anyone here had ever been to the gym. I do gym a lot, right? So, but I realized that whenever I am doing exercise with a coach, I stretch more than when I am doing the exercise all by myself. I know the movement, I know how to lift and all of that, because that was when I first started gymming many years ago. The first 3 months, I was using a coach every day. And the reason I was doing that is because I don't just want to be carrying things. I want to get the form. So in exercise, in bodybuilding, we say that you get the form first before weight. It's not about how heavy you can carry, it's about how well you get the form. So you might need to be informed first before you can then begin to do things by yourself. So let's talk, and this is open to everyone. Let's talk. Let's find something we can work around this to help us, so that we are not just getting this information and putting them aside, but then we are really working it out. We're really working it out. So Mr. Steve, please just slide into my DM after now. And if you're also catching up with the replays, please slide into my DM. Let's work this thing. Let's make it work. That's my appeal to you. Let's make it work, right? So one more person to share with us before we call it a night. The rest is night here in Lagos, Nigeria, right? So any other person who wants to share their score with us before we call it a night. I can see a chat. All right, thank you, Mr. Steve. All right. So who else would want like to share? All right, Elijah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to rate myself as a teacher, and even on some aspects, some area that I felt that, probably I've really scaled up. Looking at all of this and everything you said tonight, I just realized that I'm doing below average on most of all of this, apart from team. Yes, to an extent, my team are doing their best. Sometimes they understand their roles, and to an extent, it is still on the average. So I think I need to really scale up and try to focus more on my area of readiness. Yes, I still have it between 2 on some 4, but I'm still below 5.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. So now I want to say that under this readiness, I still have like 3 other things I've created to help us look at it, because the essence of diagnosis is to help you see where you are. Right? When you see where you are, then you can say, yes, I think I'm ready. Right? So please slide into my DM. Let's talk. Let's see how we can hold our hands together and grow together. Because the essence, so now look at it. Do you know that the best players in the world have coach? In fact, not just one coach, they have coaches. They have fitness coach, they have nutritional coach, they have psychology coach. There's a coach that coaches them for the game itself, but they have many coaches. So why do you think they have all these people? But these guys are professionals. They are real professionals. Why do you think they need a coach? Because most times, without a coach, many of us will not give our best. Many of us will prefer to be average. But when there's somebody on you, there's somebody who is vested in your growth, then you know that, because of this person, me too, I must live my best. I must live my best. So you see people stretching, doing things that ordinarily they will not be able to do because there's somebody who is working with them to see beyond them, beyond where they are at the moment, right? So I want to say a big thank you, everyone, for making it out tonight. I believe that it's been an amazing time. So I have two products. One of the things that I have been able to do, right? So I know that I do business consulting a lot, but this is my very first passion, right? I am actually a certified life family life therapist, right? So, and then I did something very critical in case you have people that are having issues in their union, having issues in their home, or preparing for marriage, and they're thinking, how can we make our marriages different? So I have this book, the 12-week mentoring program for couples. Then I also have the coaching program. Maybe you have been thinking of, oh, you want to be a relationship coach, you want to know what it means. I have a lot of tools that will be very helpful for you. So you can either take the course where you and your couple, you and your spouse will have the conversation of you are engaged, you and your fiancé. The guide, everything you need is there. But if you want the coaching session, so beyond the program, we're also going to have 6 coaching sessions. I'm going to coach you to be a coach. So the thing I have used for you, you will also be using it to help other families. So that's the pause for now. So it's on 𝔅𝖢.co, right? The link is going to be in the description. You can check 𝔅𝖢.co. I'm going to share with us, right? So please, if you think you need it, then you should take it, right? So we are gradually wrapping up, right? So I like feedback. Feedback, they say, is the food of champions. So what's your biggest takeaway from today? And what's one word that describes how you feel leaving this session? What's your biggest takeaway? Right? Who wants to share with us? Who wants to share with us? What's your biggest takeaway from our conversation tonight? Anybody? Anybody wants to share? What's your biggest takeaway from the conversation tonight? Bob, Steve, welcome, Mr. King. Thank you for joining us. I know you came in a bit late, but I'm sure you've picked one or two things. You can always relive the moment.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I want to ask, will the recording be available?
Yes, it's going to be uploaded on YouTube.
Okay. Well, I came pretty late.
Yeah, it's very critical, very critical.
Okay, right. Thank you, sir.
I want to say that please subscribe to the channel, right? So if you subscribe and turn on notification, once I upload it, you will get a notification that the video has been uploaded. But we can be sure that it will be uploaded tonight, ♯paribus, right? Yeah. Good. What's your biggest takeaway, Steve, Babs? I think 𝖃 has dropped on the call, right? So
Taking my readiness. I think my biggest takeaway for today, I think it's more towards the last session, taking my readiness max. Yes, and how to walk it to the top. I think if I can get that, I'll be fine. And with the board, with Growth Factory. So that readiness check, working on it, for me, is the greatest for today for me. My greatest takeaway.
amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for the feedback. Yeah, this is really beautiful. And, I'm glad for, those feedbacks. Very important, very critical. All the things. So next week, we'll be talking about direction. So if we look at your objective, you look at your readiness, then your direction. Where exactly are you going? right? It's going to be mind-blowing. So please help us tell your friends, your family, let them be a part of the conversation. And of course, if they can't make it live, please share the link with somebody that you love. Share the link with them. So if you are not yet in the Growth Factory WhatsApp group, check bit.ly/100x growth, bit.ly/100x_growth, right? So, and also remember, subscribe to the Boardroom NG. These are boardroom conversations we are having here, right? So, and it doesn't bite. Just subscribe to the Boardroom NG. Let's cross 100 this January, right? Let's cross 100. We have about 79. So just about 21 more subscribers, and we are going to cross our first 100 this January. Then I'm hoping that by December, we should be close to 1,000 by December this year. Yeah, it's not impossible, right? Right. So once again, I want to say a big thank you to everyone for making it out tonight. God bless you. I'm glad that you had value for your time, and I also enjoyed the session. Trust me, I enjoyed the session. Please do well to catch up with the replays and engage in the Growth Factory group where we have ongoing conversations. I know that the past few days I have been very silent because I am doing a lot of planning for my different roles, so it's taking me away. But gradually, I'm also looking forward to having a community manager that helps us to manage all of those conversations so that I can focus more on creating value for the community. So till we see you again next week, same time, 7 p.m. West African time. Monday next week. See you. I love you. I believe in you. The billionaire coach, 𝖱𝖆𝖆𝖕𝖚. God bless you, and bye for now. Bye.